together.
Oh yeah? I'm recording it right now. Uh-huh.
Hello.
Look at the dual screen on this. It's like a full screen. Isn't that crazy? Oh my god. You got a new screen? You have it going on sale for $350. 27-inch, same as that size. With G-Sync and everything. And all is lost. Oh, hear that wind? You need to do this more often. Drinking alcohol on weekends makes me feel so much better. I always forget. Specifically vodka. Oh, I love vodka. Yes, everybody, I love it. Chain 5, 270, man. That's good XP. Jesus. Damn, 339 rampage. There we go. Oh no. Oh, it's Tally. Come on. Kick it back in. Come on, Tally. No more zero. Let's go. There we go. Ooh. Sandy Aria, second place. Oh, we got it. They finally captured one of the zones I've been waiting for over a year to capture. That's crazy. There we go. Big scissors, finally. I waved to you.
Señales.
I should put Sirius radio on. That'd be good. Put some Sirius on. Sirius XM. Listen to some fantasy sports radio. Get ready for tomorrow's big games.
EMO.com.
Ooh, that's loud.
Check it out if you've yet
Too
to
loud.
do
Sorry.
so.
There we go.
Run and headed up by the #1 DFS player in the world, Alex Baker, also known as Awesemo. We've got another good hour to go with you guys here, taking it up to 7 p.m. Eastern time. Got Rick Kamla of NBA TV coming up in the next segment as well. Going to get into some basketball discussion, maybe even a little college football. I know that's his thing right there, along with basketball. But first, Manny, we talk a lot of DFS on Saturdays in the second hour. But put a little twist on it today. Let's take a look at some player props, but fantasy point props. And let's see if we align on these. Let's see what you want, the over or the under. You think it's a push? You think they come in right around that? Let's see what we got here. And it's not going to be with the Odell Beckhams, right? We're not going to do it with the Saquon Barkleys and the big name guys. What do you say we do it with some more obscure players that could make for value plays, or in seasonal leagues could be that last flex into your lineup if you're dealing with injuries or you're in a deep league.
Dude, what the hell is going on?
Let's be honest to the listeners, right? That last caller got you fuming over me, telling him to drop Adams. All right, let's do it. And I hope we can start with Adams.
It will. Dropping Adams.
I can't even hit
right
this
now,
fucking thing.
as we know, is slated to be the guy in Philly. Clement and Smallwood have been awful, just in completely anemic run game. The schedule coming up for the Eagles is very easy. To hold on to Isaiah Crowell over him, or even Jared Cook on a team that's actively tanking, I think you're crazy. All right, Josh Adams. And by the way, 888-XM Fantasy, that's where you can find us, 888-963-2682, or you can hit us up on Twitter at SiriusXM Fantasy. Manny diligently typing away over there, answering all of these questions throughout the show. You can follow him at MLaura, that's MLORA, and myself at Laffy_D, LOUGHY_D. Always happy to take your questions on Twitter when we're not on air. Okay, Josh Adams, let's start it. Let's start it with Josh Adams, and here we go. I'm gonna set it at. We're gonna use DraftKings scoring here. So yes, it is a full PPR, Manny. Josh Adams, 11 DraftKings points.
11 or 11 and a half?
11.
This guy. So off air.
Because
no. And a half.
That's what you and I are gonna. You and I are gonna place a little. Hold on, hear me out. You and I will place our little side wager on 11 and a half. I'm helping you out there, but I want to know where you really stand here at 11, because that makes it more difficult.
That's really difficult.
Giving you a little juice here with 11 and a half. Trying to, see what I'm saying?
Trying to bait him in.
Right. All right. But once we come back on air, I want to see really how low on Adams you are this week against the Giants. 11 gives me that area where if you're going under, you're going to like him. If you're going over at his price point, that means you're going to have some interest, because on DraftKings, Josh Adams is coming in at a very friendly $3,800 against a really anemic Giants defense. So let's put it at 11.
All right, 11's the perfect line.
I'll give you 11 and a half off air, okay? I'm going to give you 11 and a half off air.
Okay, so on air, I'm going to say
on
under
air.
anyway, so we can have this
thing
going. You're going to say over. All right, we both have our side.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go over on Josh Adams this week. You know, last week they clearly had to abandon the run. The only player that was even semi or remotely relevant for the Eagles in that debaucherous performance in New Orleans last week was actually Josh Adams. He scored on that, I think it was a 28-yard touchdown run, had 7 for 53. There's no reason right now. There's just no reason that that Doug Peterson and Deuce Staley do not give him the ball. There's no reason. You have to
Similar to Aaron Jones in Green Bay. What took so long?
Tell me about it.
I don't understand.
Oh, how often did we just complain and complain and complain? And now Aaron Jones is putting up, really some of the best numbers at the position. Well, with Adams, he is putting up he's not getting a ton of work, so it's been tough to tell. Much like it was with Jones, it's a great comparison you point out there. Different types of runners, but still, it's tough to tell how efficient they would be with more work. But really, Adams, when given opportunities, is giving 6+ yards per carry, and he's breaking off chunk yardage. While Wendell Smallwood he's been Wendell Smallwood-esque, and I don't know about you, man, but I think Corey Clement this year.
Yeah,
he's been healthy
merit number 6, baby.
And I just don't think we fully know it. I don't think he's healthy.
So much experience.
I
I love it.
Needing to try something else at the running back spot, and because Peterson is just so focused on what they do and doesn't really want to change anything there. I mean,
he's done a terrible job adjusting.
Just give the guy some work. Give Adam some work and see what you can do. You haven't had a great season. Change something. You got to do something.
I'm with you. All right, let's go to the tight end position. Cameron Brate, now that O.J. Howard is on the IR, if Cameron Brate, and we've already had some calls, we've already had some questions on Twitter about what to do with Cameron Brate. Some people called and just said, look, I already have Brate plugged in. Like that guy, he's a shoe-in for them. I'm going to put it at 7.5 DraftKings points for Cameron Brate.
Give me the over there. I think he's. Here's the thing. I'm not huge on Brate this week either.
Right.
Daily fantasy. It works because he's closer to minimum salary. So he is a viable play this week in daily fantasy to fit in other guys into your lineup. But if you're just speaking maybe season-long Brate over another guy, we had Brate and Njoku as a question today already. Njoku's going to be that guy pretty much every single time, right? He's just a better player, better projected game there too. Not total wise, but Brate isn't a guy that gets a ton of looks per game. Even
he needs
with
a touchdown, flat out.
He needs a touchdown. That's all he is. He is a touchdowner, but he's going to get you 3-4 catches, maybe 40, 45 yards, 50 yards. If he has a touchdown or not is what's going to get you over the top. I'd say yes. So for me, it'll be over.
Which is fair. I'm going under. I think there are enough weapons to where I don't see Brate being a focal point here. Now, keep in mind, Brate could go, 2 for 15 and a touchdown, and in PPR leagues or right, and in non-PPR leagues, what I say, 7.5. It's exactly 7.5. So I think it's going to be really close if he scores. That's if he scores.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a scoring prop.
Right. If he doesn't score, I wouldn't be surprised to see Brate come in around 2 or 3. But we'll see. We'll see what his usage looks like. It's definitely going to be one where he relies heavily on a touchdown here. What about Marlon Mack, Manny? I'm going to put him at 13.5. DraftKings points for anyone just tuning in.
Yeah, because so many people are asking about Marlon Mack too. You've seen his recent production and you like it. We mentioned this is the highest total on the main slate this week, or the second highest total on the main slate this week. Mack, I expect to get a few goal line carries. I think he gets in. Give me the over there.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as well. And one of the reasons is kind of simple. You mentioned the total on this game's at 51 right now, but they're 7.5 point favorites at home. It's a spot that sets up really nicely for Mack, even if he's not super efficient, to probably, as you pointed out, have a couple opportunities.
I love this. A group comes to my camp and messages me and goes, hey, we're going to probably start killing the Domals that are here. I'm like, why? And he goes, for XP. I said, but I'm here killing them right now. And then nothing. So they're going to come in and just take them all. They're I'm about to go charm them all and just run around. And run them out of the zone. Fucking assholes. Like, who does that? Like, you can clearly see I'm killing them. Go somewhere else then.
Is a game time decision. If Doug Baldwin doesn't play.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there's some caveats there.
Yeah, okay, so if he doesn't play, I like him over 9.
Me too.
I think this team actually falls behind in this game. Remember, it's not in Seattle, it's in Carolina. Carolina favorites. I think in this game, you play from behind, get Russell Wilson throwing maybe 35 times a game. I think I take the over there. And if you look at Carolina's defense on the season, not too good, especially against the pass. They're 25th against the pass. Yeah, I think I take the over there. Why not?
So would I. That, again, is if Baldwin doesn't play. I think you get into some murky water if he does. Last week, Gus Edwards, Manny.
Oh,
Carried the
shit.
ball 17 times for 115 yards.
Oops, that was an accident.
I believe he also got a 2-point conversion.
Crap.
A successful 2-point conversion as well. Alex Collins was inefficient. Does that surprise you?
Not at all.
No, me neither. It's been pretty much the case all season long. Actually, Collins is averaging 3.6 yards per carry. Had it not been for the 7 touchdowns he has, 8 if you include 1 receiving touchdown, been a terrible season for Alex Collins. Anyway, it looks like Gus Edwards is probably going to get a shot at getting a decent amount of work this week. But this one's a tough one to call because Lamar Jackson's going to be running quite a bit himself. Gus Edwards, DraftKings points, I'm going to put him at 11.5.
It's tough because everyone's asking Gus Edwards because of that performance.
That's why I'm going under on this.
Yeah, I think I go under there too. I mean, it's one game. I'm not saying he's that bad. It's just one game, but man, that's a tough one. I can't see that happening again. Not saying the matchup is bad because the matchup's definitely great, but I take the under there. I'm not getting excited after one game.
The volume's just impossible to predict, right?
I agree. That's all it is for me too. Yep.
Because it's not like we are saying, well, yeah, I think Lamar Jackson's going to throw 45 times and really take away from the run game. No, I don't think either of us assume that's going to be the case. Lamar Jackson ran 26 times for 119 yards last week. This team ran the ball a ton. He threw only 19 times, which is why I want to know if you have Willie Snead, who was his favorite target last week, has actually been racking up a ton of targets recently. Not a high yard per reception or yard per target guy, but Willie Snead, 9.5 fantasy points. More of a seasonal play here as a flex guy. Do we give Willie Snead 9.5 or higher or lower at 9.5?
I'm going lower on that. Look, Baltimore's an 11-point favorite heading into this game at home. They're going to run the ball a bajillion of times if they could, right? Snead, you also mentioned, he's just a short route to intermediate guy at best. He's not a guy that has big playability either. Not a guy that's going to light up the scoreboard ever. Even in a PPR side, I'd probably take under there.
I'm going over, and I'm going to say he goes over by quite a bit.
Whoa!
Yeah,
you're playing a ton of Snead this week?
No, because on DraftKings going over for like 13 isn't exactly winning me tournaments, right? But Lamar, they clearly made an effort not to let him throw downfield. I think he attempted 1 pass, 20 or more yards, which really hurts John Brown, right? I mean, it definitely hurts Brown. Willie Snead's the type of guy that in non-PPR leagues, he's pretty useless. But you know it's true.
Very true. Very true.
But if he has 6 short yardage receptions on 8 targets and has 55 yards, maybe 60 yards, you get 12, 13 fantasy points. Yeah, I think Willie Snead gets over even in a game where Lamar Jackson might only throw 18, 19 times. All right. How about another one for you? And mind you, I'm not using projections for these. These are numbers that we're coming up with that will have people that will definitely have people on one side or the other. None of them anyone's clearly going to say, I have the over, or I have the under here. Emmanuel Sanders facing his former Steelers squad at home in Denver. Emmanuel Sanders, 15 DraftKings points.
I'm actually one of the biggest Emmanuel Sanders lovers this week, so that's an easy question for me. I'm taking the over. Not just revenge game.
I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Look, they got to start airing it out. Like the whole Lindsey phase. Yeah, you can continue to do that, but that's not winning you any games, right? That's not putting you in positions to win.
Except last week when they won.
I mean, outside of that, when did they win? Like, they had two ridiculous losses before that, and they, whatever. I think for me, Emmanuel Sanders, I love I absolutely love him this week. Look, you can't keep saying Cortland Sutton's your number one or your number
and
two.
Cortland, right? And Cortland's
go back to Sanders. He's clearly the better receiver.
And Cortland's going to have his hands full with Joe Hayden this week.
Right.
I think this is an instance where Emmanuel Sanders in the middle of the field has a much better opportunity. Just same thing like with Jeff Howerman. Easier spot. Cortland Sutton and Keenum have already had a ridiculously difficult time connecting. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot easier with Joe Hayden blanketed all over him on the outside, on the perimeter.
Yeah, I think you're right. I love Sanders this week in DFS as well. So yeah, for me, Sanders pretty easily over.
All right, last one here, then we're going to take a break so we can get plenty of time with our boy Rick Kamla. You're going to like this one. Because you're gonna like this because I've gone back and forth and wavered on whether or not it's worth it. LaShawn McCoy. Now, let's just, for anyone listening that is driving or isn't around a computer or an app or their iPhone, it's not looking at DraftKings. LaShawn McCoy on DraftKings is $4,200. Coming off easily the best game of his season, coming off a game where he scored his first and second touchdown and only 2 touchdowns of the season as Buffalo routed the Jets 41-10 before their bye week.
Come on,
now you're facing
man.
a Jacksonville team that's lost 6 straight.
Let's go.
Week 11's loss at home to the Steelers. Losers of 6 straight.
Do I still not have a
None of
pet?
them
What the
wanna
fuck's
be
going
in
on?
Buffalo.
Oh, no wonder.
None of them want to be in Buffalo right now. LaShawn McCoy always been a significantly better player at home, and that's ever since he came to Buffalo and even Philly. LaShawn McCoy, $4,200. I am going to put this, Manny, and make it difficult for you. I'm going to put it at 12.5.
Ooh. I think under, man. Jacksonville's, they looked a lot better last game, right? Defensively, at least. Offensively, they're garbage.
They were at home.
Right, and then McCoy, for me, is just, all right, you're going to get 15 to 20 to 25 carries if you're winning. They're never winning. So 15 to 20 carries. He's going to get a bunch of 3-yard dump-offs. And they've seemingly never moved the ball upfield. It seems like, I don't know, for me,
Don't you think this matchup sets up nice for them, though? Their defense is pretty good. Blake Bortles is a train wreck. They can continue to feed Leonard Fournette the ball, but you and I discussed this at length on Awesemo Fantasy Football Game Day last Sunday. You can continue to give Fournette 25 carries, but it's not going to carve up a defense when he's averaging less than 3 yards a touch. So I'm going to go against you on this one. I'm going to say over for LaShawn McCoy. And even if you have him projected around 12, but he has upside for more, I still think at 4,200 on DraftKings, that is way too sexy to ignore.
That's good.
All right. Let's talk to, what do you say? All right, let's take a break. We'll
2 cups down.
And come back and work in some more daily fantasy.
I'm feeling pretty buzzed.
Manny. I'm sure you got some good value for the listeners.
Where's your wine at?
Like a plan. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We'll be back after this. You're listening to Awesemo Radio on Sirius XM Fantasy.
Phil Wharton here.
Phil Wharton here. This guy sounds like a huge nerd.
Stand tall and tighten your
Phil Wharton.
Shift your weight to your left.
Big nerd.
Swing your right leg forward as far as it will go comfortably with your knee locked.
Now
Now shift your body weight to the right leg and swing.
shift your body weight to the right leg and blow yourself.
Go to WhartonHealth.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-700-9920. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-700-9920. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-700-9920. 1-800-700-9920.
It's time. Time to join the millions of people that meet happy with Zoom video conferencing. Zoom gives you flawless video, crystal clear audio, and instant sharing across any mobile, tablet, or desktop device. But the best thing about Zoom? It just works. So ditch the distractions, join the movement, and meet happy with Zoom video conferencing. Visit zoom.us to set up your free account today. That's zoom.us. Zoom video conferencing.
For P150, P150GA, P150NY, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states. If New York or Colorado, call for a similar offer.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $150, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company, 1-800-500-9481. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired. Plus, you can choose any dentist you'd like. Call now for a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-500-9481. That's 1-800-500-9481. 1-800-500-9481.
Hey, all you fantasy sports players out there, this is Duff McKagan. You're listening to the channel where fantasy meets reality. Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, the home of fantasy sports.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM.
Wrap up rivalry weekend as third-ranked Notre Dame finishes their regular season at USC tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. With a win, Notre Dame would position themselves to make the college football playoffs for the first time in school history. And you can hear the game on ESPNU Radio, Sirius XM 84, and streaming on your phone or at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. For a full list and schedule of games, visit SiriusXM.com/college football schedule.
Your destination for advanced daily fantasy sports data, analysis, and conversation. This is Awesome-O Radio on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
All right, here we go. Dave Locker and Manny Laura. It is the DFS hour as we do each and every Sunday. But you know what? We found ourselves a guest who is just, I don't know, he likes talking to us, and we like talking to him. Rick Kamla of NBA TV Rick on Twitter, making this a weekly thing, Rick, and I'm pretty happy about it. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, Dave and Manny, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. It's great to be back on with you, man. I appreciate Ani, you're a great producer putting this all together. I'm in the belly of the beast right here, man. We got Vandy in Tennessee, we got Alabama, Auburn, we got a little Miami and Pitt. I'm in the belly of the beast for the CFB fantasy playoffs, man. And you guys, I killed it. I won some money on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, we heard. How'd you do?
It was pretty cool. So I had Cooper, a lot of us took chalk guys like Breeze and Kamara and Julio Jones. I'm not taking any credit for any of that. But I took Vernon Davis because I was looking at the tight ends. I just didn't like, 4,500 here, 3,900 there. Yeah. I'm like, nah, I want Breeze, I want Jones, I want Kamara, I wanted, some of Zeke Elliott, I wanted some of those main dudes. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna, go low at tight end. I'm like, screw it, Vernon Davis can still run. Colt McCoy's kind of the dink and dunk.
Nice.
By the way, he dropped the time on Vernon Davis. That was an amazing throw. So got a little bit lucky there, obviously. When Cooper, and look, Randy McMichael, you guys remember him. Yeah, he paid the fantasy bills for us for a little while. I do radio with him in Atlanta, and I was asking him about Amari Cooper and Josh Norman. And if Cooper was to play, he gives me a stink face and goes, hell yeah, everybody torches Josh Norman. So and we saw it obviously play out on Thanksgiving. So I got some good intel from a former ball player that helped me go with Cooper in that one. And so here's how it went, guys. I shot all the way up to number 2. It was a $12 entry. I think I had a chance to make $450. Not a huge deal, but like a nice number. Shot up to number 2, And then Tevin Coleman, his touchdown dropped me back down to number 6. So I turned 12 into 125. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. You're talking about what? Times 10 entry fee? That's there. If you had Vernon
Matt said, "Quit ignoring your chat." What's up, Matt? He was watching me, I guess.
This week, Rick. But let's talk.
Let me load it up on the secondary. Hold up. Try not to die.
Around the league.
What?
Matt
What?
and I'd say it's our favorite. I don't know about Matt. It's my
Hold on.
favorite daily fantasy sport.
Oh boy. Where?
And I still get into the league outside of fantasy because I think it tells you a lot about how players are functioning and what the chemistry looks like with their team and how that affects and influences fantasy, which it does. Well, you and I last week talked about the Warriors, the Dubs, and how they'd been struggling. They had since lost 4 games straight, finally got off the schneid last night. But now you have the Celtics, who, they win yesterday. They needed that after losing to the Knicks in Boston at TD Garden. You've got a healthy Irving this year. You've got a healthy Hayward for all that we know. What is going on with the Celtics, who are 10-9 and fighting right now just to stay relevant in the East?
Well, it's a lot of stuff. They're not playing with the P and V, as I like to say, the ice and vinegar that they did last year. They're just not as hungry. They're not as urgent. It's almost like they feel like they did something. That's been a problem. They're not playing with the force that they did last year. You also think about it. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum ate whatever they wanted last year when they went to the buffet. You want the turkey leg? Cool. You want the steak? Cool. Have it all. Now Irving's back, and he's got the rock. And so that's a very weird thing, and it's going to take him maybe half a year, maybe more to figure that out. I think they made a really good move putting Aaron Baines back in the starting lineup. It's not like a sexy fantasy move, but it's a good reality move. He fits with the pieces that they have in that starting lineup.
Holy shit, major flooding. Whole fucking laundry room's filled with water right now. It's fucking rain, dude.
They're calling it ankle soreness. Complained about soreness and
all
a
right,
little bit of
where's
pain
the
in
chat?
his ankle on the side where he broke his leg. I'm worried about Gordon Hayward, man. I really am. I think he's a shell of his former self. That's why they're bringing him off the bench. He may
Where's the
need to
chat?
have an extended time off. Or I'm no trainer. Maybe he needs to play and just get stronger that way. But Gordon Hayward ain't ready for that. That's why they're bringing him off the bench.
And I'll continue with the injury situation because now Jimmy Butler is questionable for Sunday's game. He after yesterday's brutal loss, and I know Locke hates talking about this, but they lost. Continue with the injuries. Don't tell Locke he's a die-hard Philly guy, but they lost.
I'm pretty sure they
Oh, all right, that scared me.
hungover because they didn't hit the offensive board. That was it. They gave up too many offensive rebounds. But hey, by the way, man, I don't mean to cut you off. Did you know that the Bucks and the Sixers, both of whom were 13.5-point favorites at home against the Cavs and the Suns, respectively, both of them lost in regulation yesterday. One of them to a Jamal Crawford buzzer beater.
How does that make you feel, Lockie?
Oh, boy.
Either way, Rick. So you throw in Gordon Hayward, you throw in Butler's ankle injury now, which may be something, maybe nothing, and then Anthony Davis also yesterday had some stuff going on with his hip. Are there any notable injuries we should look at for the next couple weeks that can maybe affect not only our fantasy lineups, but if you play season long, if you play anything outside, if you're a sports bettor, do you have to focus on any one injury here in the East that really shapes up or maybe even in the West that shapes up the landscape for the next couple weeks?
Well, let me give you a DFS take on tonight. They're resting Chris Paul against the Cavaliers. Obviously, the Cavaliers, that interception by Alabama's defense was helpful. The Cavaliers, they're treating it like a bye week, kind of like Al Horford last night, missing that game at Atlanta. Al Horford's going to play tonight. I think they're at Dallas, if memory serves.
Yep, 2.5-point favorites.
So I think it's going to be a bye week scenario for Chris Paul. But that does bring Eric Gordon into play, is I think a nice DFS guy. Now, Jimmy Butler, here's my thing with him. First of all, Philadelphia losing, you can go ahead, Dave, and blame it on Kendall Jenner. Okay.
I said the same thing, Rick.
Behind the scenes.
Same thing, Rick. When I saw her, I got furious.
Luck, right?
Yo, absolutely. And I said to my fiance, I was like, well, her last name it's not Kardashian, so maybe we get out of it. But that wasn't the case. Nah, we got screwed again.
Jimmy Butler, okay, you rested when you were healthy with the Timberwolves. Okay, you forced your way out of there to Philadelphia, and you were always playing the I'm Jimmy Butler, I play both ends, I'm a tough guy, I bring leadership, I snack on nails for lunch when you guys are eating sandwich. Then play. Then play. I am calling out Jimmy Butler on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio right now. I'm over it. If he misses 2 weeks and it's, all this kind, play. It's a sprained ankle. The X-rays were negative. Okay.
You all right in there?
Sprained ankles all the time. You just took an L to the Cavaliers.
Every time it rains this bad, it gets like that.
2-win Cavaliers. Now 3-win Cavaliers. It was a heinous performance. I'm hoping he plays. I think he does. We'll have to see.
It's like a bad storm, man.
Right here, Rick. And by the way, you can follow Rick.
He's definitely not getting the pull down this weekend. That's for sure.
You can check him out on NBA TV.
Crazy.
Rick, MVP race. I just want to know where you stand right now because you got Giannis. It's clearly in the picture. You've got AD. You got Harden. Maybe even Kemba. You got Curry when he's healthy. And look, call me a homer. Let Manny call me a homer. Rick, you can call me a homer. I don't care. If Joel Embiid is not in the conversation right now, ranking top 5 in points, in rebounds, in blocks, number 1 in double-doubles, number 1 in free throw attempts per game with 10 games of 30 points and 10-plus rebounds. If he's not in the conversation, I quit doing all of this stuff, man.
He's definitely in the conversation, and he's my pick right now. I don't.
Wow, there it is. There it is. I knew I liked you, Rick.
Hey, Manny, I'm not sucking up to the
Dino bots.
You clearly are.
No, he's doing that good.
I know. It's when it gets like wet, it gets. Yeah. Probably. Nah, it's fine. Nobody goes in there. Fuck it.
Yeah, me all the time.
No, you're not in there. If anything, it's the air conditioning. The air conditioning pulling it through is gonna kill all of us. I thought it was the water heater. I was like, oh god, not today.
I looked over there immediately to see like it was coming from there, but it had a very
yeah. No, it's definitely, it happens every time it like gets these bad rains. That's when the fucking that room floods. Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a mess in there. It's because the backyard was already flooded from the pool, and now it's pouring down like flood, and it just has nowhere to drain to. It would have cost us thousands of dollars, and I probably still wouldn't have saved any. The only way to do it is like trench the whole yard, and then you have to put a pipe all the way to the lowest point. And I don't even know if that'll work. It's a bummer. That's crazy how much is in there though already. Just shows you how like flooded the backyard was.
Yeah, it's nonsense. The audience, the entire.
I bet you the water's all the way up to the door over here.
When Fultz came to check in and then got sent back. No, you're right, Rick.
Yeah, I'll stay in the West too.
Look, Matt was messaging me on the feed. I didn't know because I didn't have it up. He said, "Are you playing a PS2 game on an $8,000 supercomputer?" He said, "Douche, pay attention to me." Jill asked if this is Dinobots. I feel like a peeping Tom. What the fuck is that noise? Dear Lord, like 2 Transformers being fucked to death. Whoa, a 339 Rampage? Where's my wave? Yeah, it's from Harry Potter in the background.
For real? Are the Clippers a really good team? Which one comes season end stays in the playoff race? And
That's too funny. I didn't realize that I should be looking at that. I was like, nobody's watching this shit. I'm recording it for my own fun.
Those 3 teams that you just talked about. Because you've got Westbrook. Dennis Schroeder has been amazing. Coming over from Atlanta, he has taken his game to a more responsible level. Better shooting, more threes. It's like I think he just partied his butt off in Atlanta. I really did, and I don't know. I don't even really say that sarcastically. I mean, you know about the incident at the nightclub. He operated a hookah bar. And I just think that the off-the-court stuff was too much in Atlanta for him. He's in OKC. There's nothing to do but ball, and he is. And he's, with all the injuries they have in their backcourt, he started last night. He's been terrific. If Memphis Memphis is for real.
I need more
as long
drink
as
now.
Gasol and Conley can stay healthy, and obviously
BRB.
that's a big if. The Clipper thing, to me, they slide. I see them as a 5 to 8 team. I think they're a nice story right now. They're sneaking up on people. I think they're a playoff team, but I think they're that one team that slides out of the top 4 and then maybe that 5 to 8 range.
No water.
All right, Rick. That
must be the
before we
Probably
let you
because of
go
the
here,
tile,
let's
it's
take a
not
look
like
at
laminate.
slate. We say a lot. It's week 12. People are falling out of the race, or they already got a number 1 seed locked in their seasonal leagues. Let's take a look at some of these odds tonight. I want to know where you land on them. We've got 7 games. Let's run through them. We'll do some quick hits real quick. Houston at Cleveland. Houston 7.5-point favorites. Who you got?
I like Houston. I talked to a NBA executive about that game. He did not think that Cleveland would have 2 good shooting nights in a row, so I'm just going to go with that. That's not that big of a number either. I would take Houston.
I love Houston at 7.5. Absolutely love them. Cleveland riding high after. It's a huge letdown spot for a team that had no business winning last
and there's
night.
Probably going to be a Kardashian in the house too for that one. So don't forget that angle.
Denver at OKC. Thunder 5.5-point favorites at home.
The Thunder 5.5-point faves. That's a coin flip game. I'll take the points. I'll take the plus 5.5 with that.
All right, Washington at home hosting the Pelicans. How about this? Wizards 1.5-point favorites. I don't think we have a ruling on Davis yet, do we?
Yeah, I looked right before I came on with you guys, and he's still questionable for the game. All I can tell you is if. To me, that is a Davis is out of the lineup point spread. That tells me that Vegas anticipates him missing this game. Washington has been playing with more of that P and V that I like to talk about lately. They've been winning games after just a miserable start. It's like they've stopped feeling sorry for themselves and they've started playing ball. So I would take Washington.
All right, and I'll give you one more here. Boston is favored by 2.5 points over Dallas. In Dallas. And I remember last week you mentioned how much better Dallas had played at home this season. So I went and looked it up after the show. They rank number 3 in offensive efficiency at home, number 27 on the road. So you weren't lying. They're 2-point dogs against the C's here. 2.5-point dogs, in Dallas.
I'll take the Mavs. I know that arena. I know that fan base. They're going to be psyched about having the Celtics in town. It only happens one time a year. And I think the home team is going to feed off that. Like we said, it's an angle that I think people can bang on, playing Dallas at home.
Rick, quick, before you go, Notre Dame or USC tonight? I had to ask you.
I think Notre Dame is real close to that 10.5, 11 number. Some tells me USC is going to put 3 or 4 touchdowns on the board and make Notre Dame earn this.
I got Notre Dame at 12.5 right now. That's what I'm seeing. 12.5.
That's a coin. I don't think it's a coin flip game. I think it's a coin flip point spread. If you know what I mean. I don't have a great feeling either way.
All right, Rick Kamla at NBA TV. Rick on Twitter. You can also catch him, of course, on NBA TV. Rick, always a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll talk to you next week too.
You guys rock, man. Good luck. By the way, if you had a gun to my head, I would take Notre Dame. See you guys.
Okay. There you have it. We'll be back after this. You're listening to Awesome O Radio.
At Fantasy Sports Radio, we hate losing in fantasy football just as much as you do.
Hi, this is Jim Bogue from Fantasy Alarm. Losing makes me angry, upset, disappointed, makes me want to throw up, makes me sick, makes me want to blame someone else, makes me want to make changes, fire people, trade people, claim people on waivers.
Start winning now with Fantasy Sports Radio. Sirius 210 XM87. Streaming on your phone and at home with connected devices and speakers.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know logos work because they're on everything from the top of skyscrapers to the bottom of shoes. Ever wondered why or how to best use your logo to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away the latest issue of Amplify, the digital magazine that reveals promotional product success stories absolutely free to everyone who texts GO33 to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free e-magazine will reveal invaluable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, and grow your business. Get the latest issue of Amplify absolutely free by texting GO33 to 88988. That's GO33 to 88988.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-900-8407. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-900-8407. That's 1-800-900-8407. 1-800-900-8407.
Less waiting in line means more time to burn with MedMen. To celebrate the first legalization-friendly holiday season in approved states, MedMen, the most trusted cannabis brand in the U.S., is offering 20% off all online orders for Cyber Monday. Just go to MedMen.com, place your order and pick up in store. No lines, no wait. Order online and pick up at any of our 8 California locations. It's time to drop the labels for medicinal cannabis users. Find out more at MedMen.com. Terms and conditions apply. Keep out of reach of children. For use only by adults 21 years of age and older.
Finally, an exclusive channel dedicated to fantasy sports players. SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio.
This is Awesemo Radio on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio.
All right, 2 segments to go here. Awesemo Radio, AWESEMO.com. Dave Lockren, Manny Laura. Never a dull moment when Rick Kamla joins us on the show, Manny.
No, never a dull moment at all. We had
falling off a little bit.
It's like, oh man, it was great. And we could talk about pretty much any sport. Perfect guest.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to get him on Sirius more often because he knows what's up, man. And I generally tend to agree with most of his NBA takes, especially Joel Embiid for MVP. All right, let's take a look at some DFS leanings here. We got into it a little bit in the first segment of the second hour, but we got to keep going here, Manny. And we're not going to be able to go every position by position, but I do want to do some quick hits on some of the games that we like and some of the guys that may not be as popular this week. I told you, the Buffalo-Jacksonville game, there's 2 plays in this game I like. So let's knock this one out of the way. I like LaShawn McCoy, especially at 4,200 on DraftKings. And I like Buffalo's defense. I just have no faith right now in that Jacksonville. I have no faith in Jacksonville's offense or Blake Bortles or Doug Marrone for that matter, who is just going to continue to run no matter what and hope that works out. I have plenty of love for Buffalo and for a cheap McCoy. Outside of that, nothing. Baltimore, do you have anything in Baltimore against Oakland at home?
No, not really. No, I've ton of that Gus Edwards talk, but I'm just not there. I mean, I get it. He had a phenomenal game, at least what I think was a phenomenal. Can he do that again? I just don't think so. That's just my take. And on that Buffalo game, you think Buffalo wins?
Oh yeah, I got Buffalo winning.
You think Jacksonville's done?
I think they've checked out. I think they've checked out. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's what, a 3-point spread? Yeah, I think Buffalo. And even if Buffalo doesn't win, I don't see it being a game where Jacksonville routs them either.
Yeah, no, me neither. I have virtually no plays from either one of these games. I think just so tough to predict. Outside of McCoy, I agree with you on McCoy. I think too cheap for the workload he'll get. But then going to the Baltimore-Oakland game, there's not a single player I would think about.
So if you're following along with us on DraftKings, LaShawn McCoy's $4,200. Josh Adams, who we talked about earlier, is $3,800, and I'm definitely going to have some Josh Adams, no question. Super cheap. Peyton Barber, pretty much touchdown or bust. He's $3,900 in a home matchup with a bad San Francisco 49ers defense. And then you've got Gus Edwards, who's more expensive than all of them at $4,400. Rank these guys for me, Manny, from a point per dollar standpoint. McCoy, Adams, Barber, and Edwards.
Exactly that same order. I think McCoy's my number one. I think Adams would be my number two. I think still not close to Barber, but it's not like anyone will light the scoreboard either. So it's not like I have one significantly over the other. Just, yeah, I'd pick the same order. Gus would be my last one.
I'm with you there. And the big thing about McCoy is he's the one of those four guys that we can rely on to at least be used in the passing game in the event that they did fall behind. Another game here that probably won't get a ton of love is the Denver-Pittsburgh game. And the only reason I say this is because a lot of these guys continue to be low-owned. Philip Lindsay's got a tough matchup. We have Emmanuel Sanders. I know you like him this week. Cortland Sutton's got a tough spot.
All right, I need to get the hell out of here.
I do like Jeff Howerman. And then on the other side, what are you doing with the pass catchers? What are you doing with James Conner and the Pittsburgh offense?
Yeah, I think James Conner, you got to continue riding that train, right? I know he's had two bad weeks in a row, week 11, week 10. That Jacksonville defense was just finally stepped up and played a good game. And even then, he was still able to rack up. I'm not saying 10 fantasy points is a lot, but he saw 9 targets in the passing game.
Yeah, and a concussion against Carolina left early in that game.
Right, and that's that he did drop a touchdown against Jacksonville as well. Had it right in his hands up the sidelines and completely dropped it. I think he has an okay game. He catches that and he has closer to 20 fantasy points. I'd say just about 20 fantasy points in that game. You're not even sweating this decision. I think James Conner would probably be my best bet. Outside of that, I don't have a ton of this game outside of Sanders. Just a tad bit of Sutton.
No interest in Antonio Brown, huh?
You can never go wrong with him, right? He has a guaranteed floor every time. But if you're talking DraftKings specific, against Jacksonville, he was 7,800. He's all of a sudden 8,700. That's a $4,000
big jump
there. So you can't fit him in easily, especially when this slate isn't shaping out to be the easiest as far as lineup construction is concerned. So for me, it's just, can you fit him in? Sure, play him. But if you can't, I'd say go elsewhere. You could save that 1,000. Play James Conner at your flex if that's what you were thinking, and you still feel good about it.
Yeah, I think too that what I expect is to see Chris Harris on Juju Smith-Schuster a whole lot, which is going to have me liking Brown over Juju, right? In a vacuum, I like Antonio Brown over Juju. He's now scored in, 8 straight games or something outrageous. I think 8 straight games and 9 of his last 10. Brown's just been a beast. I do like him. And believe it or not, Manny, I actually don't mind Vance McDonald. Now, the price is getting up there, so that makes it a little bit difficult to play him. But, man, Denver's been carved up by opposing tight ends, and Vance has been one of the more underrated tight ends this season ever since he got healthy. You look at his numbers. He does have decent upside, a decent ceiling on a team that's going to pass a lot. So Vance McDonald is on my radar this week. Not going to have a ton of him, but I'm not excluding him either. I wouldn't be surprised to see this game feature a decent amount of scoring in Denver.
Yeah, I think so too. I think on one side you kind of know where it's coming from. Lindsey, Sanders, Heuerman, I think, is a fine option as well. On the other side, I feel like Big Ben does so much, or at least spreads the ball around so much at times, especially when their main or his main receiver is has a bad matchup or something. In this case, Juju, I think, can probably struggle in this one. Where do you go? Antonio Brown? Sure, but I expect to see a lot of Conner. Maybe the tight ends come into play, which I respect the Vance call. I get worried sometimes that I don't know where it can come from. I know the points will be there. Outside of Conner, I don't know where they come from.
All right. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you. Give me a game that you love on both sides.
I don't love this game, but fantasy-wise, I think you have to go here. I think the Indianapolis-Miami one, and it's the first time I can honestly say I've had this much Miami in my lineups.
Who do you have? I'm really curious because I think this is the one place that you and I are quite different. Who do you have for Miami?
Yeah, so in PPR sites, I think looking at Danny Amendola has to be a thing. Look at his. No one ever looks at Danny Amendola game logs, but if you even open it for 1 second,
he's been pretty all right.
10 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, 7, 11. Like I get
all the
Miami,
receivers are hurt.
Sure,
on the IR.
Right. Miami falls behind pretty much every single game. They fall behind every game. We're not a good team. You face a defense that you can probably move the ball on. We talked about this being the second highest total on the slate. I think Miami playing from behind, Tannehill back there, in my opinion, I like him better than Osweiler. But either way, I don't think they're good quarterbacks. I think you pass a ton. You could see Drake out of the backfield, Devontae Parker as well. I think Parker, Amendola, maybe some Tannehill. I don't know. I have quite a bit of Miami. It's more so the receivers. I think they fall behind in this.
No, I'm perfectly fine with Amendola, especially if I'm going to have a bunch of Luck lineups or a bunch of Luck Hilton or a bunch of Marlon Mack lineups. I don't mind running it back with Kenny Stills. They're going to need to throw in order to try and keep up. I don't think they will be able to, but if anyone, it's going to be Amendola. Kenny Stills has just been completely non-existent. Houdini act week after week. So I hear you there. It's an interesting one for sure, but I don't think you should be sleeping on Marlon Mack either, because this could be a game where Indy really focuses on the ground and just grinds down this Miami run defense. All right, we're going to close the show out after this, put a bow on it. You're listening to Awesemo Radio right here on Sirius XM Fantasy.
This winter, follow your favorite team's progress as they prepare to be the next champion with a little bit of free agency.
Bryce Harper in the postseason. Sweet swinging middle of the lineup bat.
A little bit of trade.
The best team in baseball just got way bested.
A little bit of winter meetings.
What do we need to be able to go further than we did this past season?
Hot Stove Season 2018. You'll want to be a part of this one. MLB Network Radio, Sirius 209, XM 89.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. See website for details.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just text CLEAR22 to 350350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, text CLEAR22 to 350350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's CLEAR22 to 350350.
Message and data rates may apply.
Guys, got hair loss? I know what you're thinking. Should I shave my head? Comb it over? Wear a hat? Just stop. This isn't 1970. Keep your hair and your confidence because Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration expert, can give you your real hair back.
I'm drinking my drink.
Check them out today because they're giving away an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card to everyone who texts EASY66 to 85850. Dude, you don't have to look like your dad because this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're ahead of the curve. They use the latest technology to give you your real hair back. And the best part, Bosley's permanent solution is protected by the Bosley Guarantee. Let them show you for free how awesome your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit and a gift card for $250 off. Text EASY66 to 85850. Ask about the Bosley Guarantee. EASY66 to 85850.
Lisa Ann here. Catch me and Adam Ronis on Reaction Monday. Lisa Ann does fantasy Mondays, 10 p.m. Eastern, Sirius 210, XM 87, and always on demand.
Now, back to Awesemo Radio with Dave Lochran on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Stick around after the show. Roster Watch with Alex Dunlap and the Trash Man from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up right after us. And from 9 to 11, you get the replay of Sirius XM Fantasy Football Weekend with Matt Camp and Paul Kelly. And then a replay of Awesemo Radio. Manny, Laura, and myself, Dave Lochran, from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. Manny, we got to most of the games here throughout the show. I think we've got to all of them, actually. But a few more, the final closing minutes, we probably need to cover a little bit more in depth. And that's San Francisco, Tampa Bay, especially with the news that we're getting on Marcus Goodwin.
Yeah, so Goodwin, Ian Rappaport reports that Goodwin isn't expected to play. He's doubtful due to a personal matter. And what makes this even worse is that the Niners did not activate Jake Kumaro off the list, right? So they're down to the combination of Dante Pettis, Trent Taylor, Kendrick Bourne, and Richie James.
Kendrick Bourne.
I don't know about you, Laffy, but
bad as Oakland.
But that's worse than Oakland, I think. Oh, by the way, if you guys have heard, but it's still Nick Mullins at the helm. Who is Nick Mullins passing to? If you were stacking this game, you don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to begin. I know Dante Pettis the most. I guess that's where we go. Kendrick Bourne is fine. I guess that's fine too. But if these are locks because of their price, they are the farthest thing from that. It sucks because this is the highest total game on the slate, but it's really tough to decipher.
For me, it's simple. It's simple, man. George Kittle. Seriously.
Yep.
George Kittle.
George Kittle.
And more George Kittle.
That's the dude you start.
Some Matt Breida mixed in there as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him and Juice used in that passing game because I think they're going to be hard up in terms of the wide receiver corps. Sorry, man, we got like a minute and a half to go here. Philly and New York Giants. Not the highest total, but this game is featuring two terrible defenses. I'm going to have quite a bit. I'm going to have Josh Adams. I'll mix some Ertz in there. There's no doubt I'm going to have Odell Beckham and Saquon Barkley, not all in the same lineups, of course, and some Sterling Shepard. I mean, this corner defense, slot defense, slot corners, you name it, outside perimeter corners, boundary corners, you call it what you want for Philly, either really bad or really hurt. All of them.
I feel like Lofty this week. My second highest quarterback as far as percentage owned in my lineups this week is Carson Wentz, man. Feels
bounce
bad.
back. You like the bounce back. So do I. I like the bounce back.
I also like the bounce back for Zach Ertz, my top tight end on the slate. I think you're right. This game has some sneaky fantasy point options or fantasy options, and then Josh Adams. I think
this movie's so quiet, like nobody ever talks.
Send me your Wentz.
Except for those fucking battles in the beginning.
Man, there we go. There we go. You better not burn it. You better not burn it. Yeah, I think Wentz has to bounce back here. Easily the worst performance of his career in the Dome last week, but a much, much friendlier matchup. That game should see a lot of scoring on both sides of the football, and I'm going to have quite a bit of it on DraftKings. We wish all you guys the best of luck here in Week 12. Manny and I will be back with you next week, next Saturday, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Awesome Radio, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
God, this is slow.
Anyone can play fantasy football, but what does it take to win?
Impact players. It's all about standing out from the crowd.
The guru, John Hansen.
Have to avoid landmines. Injury-prone players. Work the waiver wire every week. Finally, when you set your lineup, make smart decisions.
Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Do all this, and you will emerge victorious.
We know how to win. Join us on
Damn.
Sirius 210 XM87 and the Sirius XM app.
Fantasy sports. You love it. Now live it. On Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Sirius 210 XM87.
This is the Sirius XM Sports Update.
Third-ranked Notre Dame was trying to stay unbeaten when they visited USC. The Irish led 17-10 early in the fourth quarter, and they were looking for more.
From their own 49-yard line. Ian Book has two wideouts to his right. He drops back to pass against the blitz. Tony Jones has it out of the backfield. He's running down the near sideline inside the 20, 15, 10. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Oh, what a catch and run by Tony Jones. 23-10. Notre Dame leads USC. 3:09 left in the game.
Notre Dame Radio on Sirius XM. That was the second touchdown pass of the night for Ian Book. The Irish won 24-17 and are now 12-0. Seventh-ranked LSU and number 22 Texas A&M were in the seventh overtime, tied at 72. The Aggies were going for two in the win.
The snap to Kellen. Kellen rolls to his right. Kellen stops, fires back over the middle. And the conversion. Kendrick Rogers and the Aggies win 74-72 in 7 OTs. Here's your rivalry.
The Texas A&M Sports Network from Learfield, that capped off the highest scoring game and longest game in NCAA FBS history. Top-ranked Alabama beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl 52-21. Second-ranked Clemson is 12-0 after they beat South Carolina 56-35. 10th-ranked Ohio State walloped 4th-ranked Michigan 62-39. From the NBA, Kevin Durant had a season-high 44 points, and the Warriors 117-116 win over the Kings. The other winners were the Bucks, Mavericks, T-Wolves, Nuggets, Cavaliers, and Wizards. From the NHL, Patrick Laine had 5 goals in the Jets' 8-4 win over the Blues. The other winners were the Golden Knights, Maple Leafs, Sabres, Penguins, Avalanche, Canucks, Bruins, Blackhawks, Capitals, and Islanders. I'm Rob Brender.
If it's happening in sports, it's happening on Sirius XM. We're in the
business of winning. This is Pro Football Focus.
Damn you, Corey Davis. Get yourself dropped.
Please don't drop Corey Davis. Don't do that to yourself. I know you're ticked off. He did not do that to you personally. I'm sure Corey Davis is a lovely human being. Don't drop Corey Davis. Don't drop Corey Davis. All right. And
Pro Football Focus with Jeff Ratcliffe.
Gonna get some XP now.
Dominate. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM.
Shit, I'm gonna cut food.
210 XM87 and the Sirius XM app.
Sirius XM Stars presents.
Hey, it's Emily Morse, the host of Sex with Emily. It's all about sex, dating,
Oh, that's probably what
marriage,
happened.
love, breaking up, getting back together, makeup sex. We're all having sex, and no one talks about it in a real way, without judgment, except for me. I'm here for you. I want to make sex easier to talk about because when we talk about sex, we have better sex.
Sex with Emily. Weekdays at 8 p.m. East on Sirius XM Stars 109. And right now through November 26th. Listen free on the Sirius XM app and online. And for the first time on Amazon Echo and Alexa devices.
Make this the year you go all the way to a fantasy football championship. We'll help you get there on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
The run by Hyde, or rather Nick Chubb. Chubb is to the 30, 25, 15, 10.
You're listening to Roster Watch on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Touchdown, Nick Chubb!
It's Flash, it's Pop, it's Sizzle.
It's your fantasy team. Love line.
Looking over the middle. Fires. Caught. Trey Quinn. Trey Quinn, a Redskins touchdown. His first as a pro. And the Redskins take the lead.
Out of pistol formation, fake it to Howard. Throwing. Daniel, right corner of the end zone. He's got Cohen for the touchdown. And the Bears are back in front.
Matt looks left. Pumps it. Now fires back line of the end zone. And it's caught. Touchdown, Calvin Ridley.
Stafford moves in. He's got the snap. Hands to LeGarrette. Running left. Cuts it up. LeGarrette at the 2. LeGarrette at the 1. LeGarrette to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, number 29 was just dragging tacklers to the house.
What the hell's going on out here?
It's Radio Gold. It's Roster Watch. Only on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of the universe, this is Roster Watch. My name is Alex Dunlap. I'm joined on this eve of a big slate of Week 12 action by the Trash Man. On the other side of the country, on the other side of the glass, are producers this evening. As usual, Ani Sridhar and Josh Wagner. Ladies and gentlemen, Roster Watch Nation, what a show we have in store for you this evening. We have player props continuing to come in on the Week 12 NFL DFS flex values based on Vegas player props, where there are some players on the very top of the list this week, especially for DraftKings, that feel like a disgusting trash man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play these guys in our DFS lineups, but we're going to talk about it.
Find a lineup.
Well, we're going to talk about it, Trash Man. But some of these guys I cannot play. They seem like a few of them could possibly be in the garbage grab. We'll have the garbage grab tonight, and we'll take your phone calls. 888-XM-FANTASY, 888-963-2682. A lot of DFS talk, a lot of matchup-specific talk, a lot of talk about these player props and where the values are on DraftKings and on FanDuel. But we understand that many of you, especially those of you that use the Epic tools at rosterwatch.com, the cheat sheets, the magical, the mystical, the mythical draft cheat sheets at rosterwatch.com. Could be in must-win situations to get into your fantasy football playoffs, and we want to answer those questions. We want to make sure that you are in line to get a W this week. On the look, there's only what, 2 more. I'm cruising to the playoffs in every league that I'm in, Trash Man, but I believe there's only 2 more weeks of the regular season.
Depending on how cockamamie your league is.
Right.
I have some Roster Watch Nation members who want me to put together a cheat sheet for the playoffs.
For the playoffs?
They do another draft.
Well, we could talk about that at some point whenever we have our next content meeting. like we have content meetings.
Byron and I met last week.
Really? For an actual Roster Watch meeting?
Yeah. I mean,
Really?
it was over lunch, but we ended up talking about a lot of Roster Watch.
Well, you only showed up because it was a free lunch.
Well, Roster Watch paid for it.
Yeah.
So
Well, our Roster Watch Nation paid for it. Those are our pro members at rosterwatch.com. Trashman will always head off for a free lunch. No, there's actually some new content that I'll be spinning out as well, starting pretty soon.
soon for these showdown slates as we get into, as the redraft season starts to wind down and we get a little bit more DFS focused before we start rolling out draft content. It'll be before we even know it, Trash Man. We're starting to get our first invites to the Senior Bowl at the wide receiver and running back position, so that's going to be exciting. We always know after Thanksgiving, that's when we start shifting a small bit of our focus to the NFL draft. We are the leaders. We are the forward thinkers in that space, and a Roster Watch Pro membership gets you access to all of it throughout the offseason to help you with your Dynasty Leagues, your MFL 10s, and, of course, Trash Man, we still have 2 more months of NFL DFS. So exciting times here, but your phone calls clearly are the most important tonight for your redraft league. So if you have questions, the phone number is 888-XM-FANTASY, 888-963-2682. We cannot answer any phone calls during the Sunday morning game day edition of the show, except for during the very last part of the last segment of each hour. So we depend on this show to get in your phone calls. We do not want to leave you guys behind. Again, 888-XM-FANTASY, 888-963-2682. We'll answer those throughout the course of the evening. Trash Man, you have any news and notes you want to get to first?
There's always more news and some notes. A.J. Green is not expected to return this week.
Do you know what I call this whole thing with A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd? It's the same thing. It's the same thing I called it with whenever Stephon Diggs was out and Adam Thielen was everybody just wanted to play Adam Thielen, and he had the highest projection of anybody because Stephon Diggs clearly was going to get all the extra targets.
Well, they got all the attention from the defense.
I came up with it today. It's called the law of shifting attention. Doesn't that sound fancy?
It sounds like something that would pertain to my dog.
that's the law of totally because 1 minute he's paying you attention, he wants a treat. The next minute he smells some dog's ass and he's trying to sniff after.
Speaking of my dog, I kid you not, I'm leaving Tuesday afternoon. I'm 45 minutes outside of Austin, driving home, see my family, and the person I hired to watch my dog messaged me and says they can no longer watch my dog. I found her on one of these sites, one of these apps.
Hey, she sounds about as dependable as you.
I have no problem watching a dog of any ilk.
it's just the important things in life that you let people down regarding.
No, none of those. Oh, that really matter. I'm always there. Kids and animals love me, and those are the most important things in the world.
Kids certainly do love you. So, but listeners of this radio program do not love hearing about your personal life.
I'm sure
they love hearing about fantasy.
They want to know just a little bit more.
Fantasy football.
Peel back some of the veil of mystery.
I'll tell you what, it's peeling back the onion, and it smells like an onion.
I mean, at least I didn't give him my name. That might never happen. More football news. Melvin Gordon not a lock to play in Week 12.
Well, how do you handle it? Because it's the 3:05 game. So here's my.
I don't know how I handle this heat in here.
Is it kind of hot?
It's sweltering.
Well, hey man, I've been in here creating content all day, brother. I'm a content machine.
Is that what it is?
How do you handle it?
How do you handle it?
Hopefully you own Austin Eckler, right? Because it could be the epic Austin Eckler smash.
It could be the one epic Austin Eckler we get this season.
It's against Arizona. It's a great matchup. Here's the thing: if they don't need to play him, they might not play him. This is what we. And we didn't ever finish our idea about the law of shifting attention. So let me get back.
No, we showed by example.
No, but that isn't what it means. But back to that. What was that? The law of shifting attentions.
We're talking about Tyler Boyd.
But what we're talking about just now.
Melvin Gordon.
All right, so let's put a bookmark there. All right, back to Tyler Boyd. The law of shifting attention is last week. John Harbaugh told the announcers of that game, I knew at the minute it was going to happen. I knew that I could not pay $7,500 for Tyler Boyd on DraftKings.
This is not bad at all.
Who else are you going to guard if you're the Baltimore Ravens? And what John Harbaugh said is, he said, we're going to treat 83 like he's 18. So basically, we're gonna treat Tyler Boyd like he's A.J. Green, right? We're gonna double cover him. We're gonna bracket him. We're not gonna let this guy kill us. It's obvious that he's the best option they have in the passing game. I could see the same thing happening with the Cleveland Browns if Greg Williams was any good at scheming
Could you see it happening with Keenan Allen?
See it happening with Keenan Allen?
Well, I mean, if they're not shifting their focus towards Melvin Gordon, maybe they shift their attention to Keenan Allen.
Well, I don't think you can shift your attention to Keenan Allen because Patrick Peterson's not going to follow him into the slot, right? So if Tyrell Williams is going to be questionable, but it seems like he'll probably go, and Patrick Peterson's only
Do you don't think he's going to fall in there at all?
He doesn't ever follow into the slot, and he's only shadowed 3 times this year. He doesn't shadow this year. Steve Wilkes is a dog. I mean, he doesn't shadow. So he's only shadowed 3 times this year. I think he shadowed Diggs, and Diggs sometimes goes into the slot. But if you look at our good friend Jeff Ratcliffe from PFF does the shadow matrix, and if you look at that, whenever he shadowed Diggs, he was only on him on 58.5% of the routes, and I think that the only guy that he really shadowed with a whole ton of frequency was when he shadowed Marquise Goodwin in Week 8 and at 87.5% of routes, and we know that Marquise Goodwin doesn't come into the slot. So, these guys like Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill that come into the slot, he got Stephon Diggs 58.5% of the time, he got Tyreek Hill 42.9% of the time. So, I mean, whenever we look at Keenan Allen, we see that he plays 53% of his routes out of the slot. The very most he's going to get Patrick Peterson is when he moves outside for that sort of kind of same Stephon Diggs treatment, right? 45% of the time.
How did Diggs do in that game?
I don't have his game log pulled up. I probably could. I just worry about. It looks like whenever he was in Patrick Peterson's coverage, he was targeted twice.
Patrick Peterson had.
Or Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs had 42 yards on the day, including rushing yards.
So he was targeted twice with 2 receptions for 26 yards while he was on Patrick Peterson. Nobody's had a big game on Patrick Peterson except for Marquise Goodwin. I guess a relatively good game. He had the 1 reception for 55 yards and a touchdown. But that's not getting you much on 87.5% of snaps. As far as the plan for Melvin Gordon, if you own him, hopefully you own Austin Eckler as a backup plan, I guess. And hopefully we get news in the morning from Adam Schefter or about his possible availability. I'm not sure that we will, though. So you're going to need to have a backup plan. And when we look at let's just look at the afternoon games and just see where there might be help available on the waiver wire. I should have. All right, so the afternoon games, Arizona at the Los Angeles Chargers. Is there anybody on the waiver wire in that game that you think you could pick up besides Eckler?
I mean, there's a Mike Williams maybe.
No, you don't want to do that. I mean, and here's the other thing. A common thing that you need to know in these sorts of situations: make sure you have Melvin Gordon in your flex. Right? Because you want to be able to substitute in a tight end, a wide receiver, a running back, anybody that you can. You always want your guy that's going last, especially if he's an injury concern. You want him in your flex.
I think Christian Kirk is still only owned in about.
Christian Kirk would be a great pickup.
Kirk's only owned in 37% of leagues.
So maybe you could pick him up. Miami at Indy goes off at 325. Nyheim Hines probably isn't owned in any of these leagues. I kind of like him in this spot. Maybe
Dontrell Inman?
No, get trash, man. No, I mean, maybe one of these.
Kenny Stills.
Maybe one of these might. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Kenny Stills got dropped during some of the time that he was kind of hurt and banged up.
He did.
And then in the Pittsburgh-Denver game, I don't know who could be on the waiver. Maybe like Tim Patrick. He's been picking up a little bit in his snaps for the Denver Broncos. For Pittsburgh, there's nobody on that side you're picking.
Jalen Samuel.
No, you can't pick Jalen Samuel. I think that Christian Kirk is probably your best option, but boy, Austin Eckler, you sure wish you own him in this spot. And at only 3,700 on DraftKings, I'm interested in playing Austin Eckler anyway. Trash man, there's phone calls already coming in, and we got to get to them. The phone number is 888-XM-FANTASY, 888-963-2682. You can find all of our content at rosterwatch.com. And the best way to support us if you love this show is to get a pro membership right there on Roster Watch. He is the Trash Man. I am Alex Dunlap. This is Roster Watch.
Whether you're in Engaging with the NFL, college football, the NBA, and anywhere else the action is. We're making your sports experience more fun.
Play of the day. It's all over. Don't even bother.
Benefit from all the games you love on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Start your morning with the opening drive.
We're joined by Patriots quarterback Tom Brady.
You know, it's very much a young man's game, but I'm very fortunate to still be doing what I love to do. You know, because I love it, it allows me to work hard at it. It never feels like work to me. It just feels like something I love to do. I love to wake up in the morning and go get ready to play and grind it out, get ready mentally, get ready physically, get on the practice field and get to work, and those are still things I'm really enjoying.
The opening drive. To find this on use the keyword drive.
That's super loud.
As the founder of a small business, I know firsthand how difficult it can be to manage through cash flow problems. When I tried to borrow money, the banks wouldn't touch me, and I got a lot of fast talk from loan brokers. That's why we founded Merchant Capital Source 10 years ago, to help small business owners like you get the funding you need without getting the runaround. We'll fund your business from $5,000 to $200,000, and because we're a direct lender, there's no middleman to cause delays or cost you money. If you've been in business for 6 months and have sales of at least $15,000 per month, we can approve you within hours and put cash in your account within 3 days. The process is fast and easy, and the best part is that no tax returns, financial statements, or business plans are necessary. Experience the Merchant Capital Source difference and get cash for your business today.
Apply online at mcscash.com or call 800-724-8821. That's 800-724-8821. 800-724-8821. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California Finance Lender's Law license.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
All I ever wanted to do was to drive a truck.
Our founder, C.O. Werner, said that over 60 years ago, and it's a testament to our professional drivers being the foundation of Werner Enterprises. I'm Derek Leathers, President and CEO. At Werner, we promise that if you join our family, it's not just a job, it's a rewarding and stable career full of opportunities. Take control of your career and be confident in knowing your future is stable with Werner while enjoying competitive pay and industry-leading benefits. Visit drivewerner.com today to join the fleet that keeps America moving.
This is Larry the Cable Guy. Boy, I hope you pick me with the #1 pick in your
Fuck did I just
fantasy
say?
draft. Come on now, let's
Come on.
get it done. You're listening to Sirius XM Fantasy
Come on.
Sports Radio.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM.
Wrap-up rivalry weekend as third-ranked Notre Dame finishes their regular season at USC tonight at 8 Eastern. With a win, Notre Dame would position themselves to make the college football playoff for the first time in school history. Hear the game on ESPNU Radio Sirius XM 84 and streaming on your phone or at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. For a full schedule of games, visit SiriusXM.com/college football schedule.
It's pop. It's sizzle. It's Roster Watch. Only on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
This is Michael Thomas, and you're listening to Roster Watch.
Michael Thomas bringing us back in. Boy, did he swindle some unsuspecting fantasy owners on Thanksgiving Day. What should have been an epic shootout. What was an epic shootout? But who was it, Trash Man? It was Keith Kirkwood.
He wasn't the only one.
There was others.
How many was it, like 10 different receivers?
It was Dan Arnold. I think that's Tom Arnold's little brother.
It might have been. Oh, and it was my boy Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
It's speaking of that smell. Trash man, hold your nose. Hold your nose. If you look at the Week 12 NFL DFS flex values based on Vegas player props. Have you looked at the Vegas tool?
No.
Trash man, why don't you ever use our tools in roster watch?
I don't play that much daily.
But the Vegas tool should help with your sit start decisions. I have a big one to ask you about after a while. But do you know who's at the very top of the sheet this week? Hold your nose. Hold your nose. I'm not playing him.
Oh, who could it be?
What the Vegas tool is we take the values on DraftKings and FanDuel. I have over 70 player props already loaded up into here, and we run them through the formula.
Murray.
No. We run them through the formula here on the tool that goes to show what multiple they are versus their pricing on DraftKings based on their Vegas player props. You know, their yardage, their receptions, all their totals, and their touchdown odds. We bake in on DraftKings at least a prorated portion of that bonus, and it's all within the scoring formula here in the sheet. Trashman at the very top.
What, Corey Davis?
No, it's not Corey Davis. They don't play until Monday. We're talking main slate.
All right.
Quincy Enunwa. Play the song. How can we have Quincy Enunwa at the very top of the sheet? At the very top of the sheet. Trash man. Quincy Enunwa. Look, versus the New England Patriots is our number 16 matchup of the week. You figure he plays out of the slot, so he'll avoid Stephon Gilmore. Speaking of Corey Davis, maybe he should want to be on Stephon Gilmore. Last time we worried about him, all Corey Davis went out and did was just went out and Randy Mossed that idiot. He has a 4 reception over-under. He has a 55.5 receiving yard over-under. Doesn't that seem too high? 55.5 yards for Quincy Enunwa versus the Patriots. Are they just thinking that and he's plus 210 to score? So plus 210 touchdown odds. That's projected scoring of 11.49 here in the Vegas tool. That is 3.1x value on that 3,700. 55.5 receiving yards. That's not a Quincy Enunwa-like prop.
Well, not that we've seen from him this season.
Well, is it just because Robbie Anderson's going to be limited?
Robbie Anderson's limited, and I think they're going to use it as the extension of the run. I don't think they can really run the ball right now.
Well,
I mean, like
I like Elijah McGuire.
Not in the traditional sense.
I like Elijah McGuire this week.
Yeah,
I think they fall behind.
He's not a traditional runner though, and they won't use him in traditional way.
He's a pretty good traditional runner, but he is more of a satellite back. He's more of a pass catching back.
Yeah.
And so I like him this week, especially in PPR. But Quincy Enunwa, right here at the very top, really opened my eyes. I'm not playing him. I'm just not.
Not even in a PPR?
I mean, it would just depend on my options. Maybe in a 14-team league, I'd play him. I'm not playing him in DFS. I mean, there's too many other good options there.
His upside's not that high.
No, but I think what the books are saying is the New England Patriots are going to kick the Jets' ass. And there's going to be in comeback mode. It's McCown. They're not going to risk Darnold. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Looks like we have a couple of you guys phone calls. Let's get them in. 888-XM 888-963-2682. Let's go to Brandon in Philly.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I got a season-long.
State your team name and record.
Team name is Shockers. Record 7-4.
What can we help you with?
Okay, so I got running backs. I need 3 out of this 4. I sacked Coleman already, so that was so far not good. But I got Saquon obviously is in. I got Chubb. I got Fournette, and I got Dalvin Cook. So far, I have Cook on my bench, but it's a 1-point PPR.
Yeah. Boy, I wish I did the props on the later games just so I could see kind of how Vegas is beginning to look at Dalvin. But let me pull up our model and see. Trashman, do you have this in your?
Yes.
I mean, for me, right off the cuff, I say it's Chubb and Fournette. I wanted to check the model first and let me just make sure here quickly. Where is the model? This is great radio. Yeah, it's still
going to be Cook. That's what's great about it.
It is Cook. So I just wanted to be completely sure. I didn't want to give any false advertising, any false hope there on that one. But yeah, we will be going with Leonard Fournette and Nick Chubb. Trashman, I love Nick Chubb this week. His prop is insane. His prop is 88.5 rushing yards. Now, it looks like we're going to get Sony Michel back tomorrow. We don't know for sure yet. But with the knowledge that we have Sony Michel back, I'm going to just take a moment here for myself and just ask you. In a half-point PPR league, I already went Alvin Kamara. I have to start a running back and a flex of these three. Nick Chubb, Matt Breida in the GOAT spot versus Tampa Bay, or James White. I need to bench one. Half-point PPR. You got to bench James White, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have to. Breida and Chubb are getting ready to go absolutely ham, and now we have the news of no Marquise Goodwin, who's going to be missing tomorrow's game for the San Francisco 49ers, doubtful, with a personal deal, something maybe having to do with his sister. I'm reading. I don't know exactly what it is. Personal matter. It looked like what was trending on Twitter. Whenever the first thing that pulled up on Twitter was Marquise Goodwin's sister. So I don't know what that is. Anyway, he's doubtful with a personal matter. This is going to be a concentrated George Kittle, Matt Breida offense there in the machine that is the Nick Mullins experience traveling to Tampa Bay. Gotta love both those guys this week. And with Matt Breida, Trash Man, he's had the week off from his bye. He had the long week between a Thursday game and a Monday game, and then in week 10 he just went off for the absolute monster.
Do you think he's healthy now?
Well, it definitely worries me that he's died on the football field 3 times this year. But yeah,
Came
dude,
to life,
I'm playing him, dude. I'm playing him. I'm really doing it, buddy.
James White, his last game was a stinker. Only 32 yards. No, actually 26 if you count the negative rushing.
Yeah. So we're I'm gonna get James White out of there. Appreciate that feedback there. While we're talking about questions about people's fantasy football teams, let's take one here from our own great state. It's way down here in Texas, boy. This is Rick in Dallas.
Hey, yo. It's actually Captain Jack. I'm in
What's
Sherman.
going on there, buddy? What's your team name?
Hey. Captain Jack and the Black Pearl.
Record.
I'll give you a 5 and 5. Wait, 6 and 5 now.
What can we help you with, brother?
2 questions. One is a quick one. I got the Patriots or the Browns for defense this week.
Patient. I mean, the Browns. I think the Browns are an acceptable option this week. Are the Browns at home? They're at home, right? No, they're at Cincy.
They're in Cincy.
Yeah.
I go New England there.
It's McCown. They're down with Robbie Anderson. I mean, when your biggest 2 threats are Quincy and Nunwa and Christopher Herndon the fourth.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be a high-scoring game.
Let's go with the Patriots. What's your next question?
Okay, the other one's flex. I need 1 flex. I got Peterson, Breida, Duke, and then Jeffrey. Like 1 wide receiver in there.
It's either Breida or Alshon.
Peterson.
Already?
AP.
1:30.
Yeah,
AP
AP
already played him.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. What was I thinking? Okay, so AP's out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's Breida. He's getting ready to go ham here.
Who were the others?
It was basically Breida or Alshon. I'm not going to tell him to play Duke Johnson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Breida.